Hi there, I'm Laura McHarrie at The Hidden Edge with another tea break tip on how to use business models and tools to help you manage your growing business. Today, we're looking at setting up a board. It's really useful to start with considering the board boundaries when you do this. When you decide to create a board, you may need to consider the difference between the roles as shareholders, executives and board members, and address the questions of board independence, performance and accountability. Boards need to understand how they fit into the big picture. Executives oversee employees, the board oversees the executives, and the owners oversee the boards. The board has significant amounts of power, but the owners have the option of replacing the board if they believe it is acting contrary to their interests or they're just plain unsatisfactory. Board members have a fiduciary responsibility to all shareholders as a group and cannot show favouritism. They hold the management to account, usually through the CEO or the managing director, for the performance of the business. Boards are uniquely positioned to focus their attention and energy on board issues such as company policies, markets, acquisitions, finance and strategic planning. A good board is able to speak with one voice for the company to the managers, even if individually they're not all in agreement. So, who should be on the board? Owners. Most small businesses will have the founders or current owners on their boards. However, there are drawbacks to having all owners on board, particularly if there are many shareholders, because it's impracticable. Some may lack the talent for conceptual and high-level business thinking. Others may lack the interest in governance, full stop. It's not exactly the most riveting of subjects. When owners create a board agenda, they need to take off their working cloak and put on their boardroom hats and go off to the boardroom, because they need to think differently. They need to look at the company from a different angle and broaden their vision. Executives. The reason for having executives on the board is that they know the inside of the company. When the board makes a decision, it is the management that has to carry it out. Some companies assign the board chair role to the MD. This can compromise the usefulness and independence of the board. The chair manages the board members and the CEO manages the company executives. It is the board's responsibility to oversee the CEO. If the CEO is also the chair, you can see how it can compromise that objectivity. Advisors. Owners frequently like their advisors to serve as board members. Accountants and lawyers may know a great deal about the company, and their experience and conceptual abilities may be an asset to the board. Professional ethics prevents accountants who audit a company's books from servicing on its board. Outsiders. Independent members who have no allegiances to any person bring credibility to the board. Outsiders are people who have responsibility and accountability without profiting from the board decisions. They are often senior managers with considerable experience, or perhaps consultants who are not serving the management, adding skills that the company perceives it to be short of. The optimum number on a board is between 5 and 9. So that's 7 then. Odd numbers prevent tie votes, so really useful to having an odd number on your board. Good governance requires board members who can think conceptually and with long-term perspective, are able to welcome a diversity of opinions, but abide by the group decisions. The functions of the board are illustrated as so. The purpose. The board represents the interests of the shareholders by setting out the company's aims and by monitoring their achievement. It is therefore the function of the board to define the purpose of the company. The company's purpose is built around the offer, the market, and the finances. Policies and plans. The board has to ensure that the company makes the most of its opportunities and that it is looking ahead. It needs to look at short-term and long-term goals and the means to which they can be achieved. It is responsible for agreeing the operational plans required to turn the strategy into action and the targets that illustrate that success. It does this in conjunction with the MD, who has the responsibility for achieving results. Appointing and assessing executives. The key to ensuring that the board's thinking and decisions are transformed into reality lies in appointing the right executives to the right posts. The vital appointment is that of the MD, whose responsibility is just that. Appointing or replacing an MD is one of the most difficult jobs a board has to deal with. The MD or the CEO is the only executive that is directly accountable to the board. The assessment of a CEO needs to be set against those measures of attainment that have been agreed between the board and the CEO. Performance and culture. The boards are accountable to the shareholders for the company's progress and actions. Chairmen have the dual task of ensuring that their boards direct the company effectively and that they retain the confidence of their shareholders. In addition to its obligations to its shareholders, it has the obligations to its customers, employees, and the communities in which it operates. Evaluation and development. The final responsibility is that of reviewing the performance of the board. In the same way that the executives will be appraised, board members need to have their performance evaluated. The objective is to learn from the past experiences. An alternative to a board reviewing its own performance is an external assessor coming in. An outside consultant will offer an independent and objective view to that evaluation. This board effectiveness was designed by Hugh Parker from Mackenzie's, and it's a checklist of 6 key questions. And it's useful to ask yourself this to actually consider whether your board is performing at its correct level. So the questions are: does your company put the company's long-term objectives and the strategic options in writing? Does it state what its value system is, its image, and its social responsibilities? Does it review the organisational structure of the business and how this might change in the future? Does it receive information it needs to ensure that it is in effective control of the company and its management? Does it require the CEO to present his plans and budgets for review and approval, then monitor them? And does it have adequate time to review information to make sound decisions? So there you are, a simple explanation of how to go about setting up a board and what it is responsible for. Have a go. You can request the templates from the Hidden Edge website. Do share your stories there too. I'm building a portfolio of small business case studies and would love to include examples of what has worked well for you. So until next time, enjoy the rest of your tea break.